welcome to Ultra Instinct Tarot. My name is Andres, and this is the first pick a Pokemon reading. So as you can see, we have 4 different Pokemon to choose from. Pile 1 is good old Pikachu. Pile 2, Munkidori. Pile 3, we got Jirachi. And pile 4, we got Absol. Okay, so remember the goal.
You two are still thinking before you move rather than just moving. This overthinking is limiting your fighting speed. Messages can only travel through your nervous system so fast. When you rely on thoughts for physical action, you lose precious fighting time. Your end goal should be to master the ability to have each part of your body think and move independently of the other parts.
So think and do. Don't think too much. Think and do at the same time. And I will see you at your pile. Peace. Hello, pile 1. If you chose the Pikachu card, this will be your reading. I thought it was fit to pick Pikachu for my first pick a pile reading, as he is the very first Pokemon ever caught or gotten, I guess, by Ash. He is the best Pokemon. He is number 1. So this is pile 1, and Pikachu has a charge attack. So I have a feeling this is going to be like a knight in shining armor reading, or there's something new you want to go for. Alright, so like always, the whole point of this channel is to go Ultra Instinct, so we're just gonna go ahead and get started with existence. And look at that, another number 1. So starting off strong. Existence. This naked figure sits on the lotus leaf of perfection, gazing at the beauty of the night sky. She knows that home is not a physical place in the outside world, but an inner quality of relaxation and acceptance. The stars, the rocks, the trees, the flowers, fish, and birds are our brothers and sisters in this dance of life. We human beings tend to forget this as we pursue our own private agendas and believe we must fight to get what we need. But ultimately, our sense of separateness is just an illusion, manufactured by the narrow preoccupations of the mind. Now is the time to look at whether you are allowing yourself to receive the extraordinary gift of feeling at home wherever you are. If you are, be sure to take time to savor it so it can deepen and remain with you. If on the other hand, you've been feeling like the world is out to get you, it's time to take a break. Go outside tonight and look at the stars. You are not accidental. Existence needs you. Without you, something will be missing in existence and nobody can replace it. That's what gives you dignity, that the whole existence will miss you. The stars and sun and moon, the trees and birds and the earth. Everything in the universe will feel a small place is vacant, which cannot be filled by anybody except you. This gives you a tremendous joy, a fulfillment that you are related to existence, and existence cares for you. Once you are clean and clear, you can see tremendous love falling on you from all dimensions. Existence. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys, this is the Tree of Life, right? So this is the beginning. This is God, and this is where we are right now. So this cool special person once said that we don't know where we came from and we don't know where we're going. So if we're right here, that means that all of this already happened. So all of this happened just so that you can exist here. And I think that's pretty cool. Four of Cups. You may think it's not cool. The Four of Cups. So is it existence? It seems like this cup might be existence, and you don't want to be here. I feel you. I also felt like I didn't want to be here for the longest time. Yeah, the Four of Cups is all about lack of interest, indifference, detachment. New opportunities are around every corner, but the Fool is too unmotivated or indifferent to see them. They instead feel like heavy burdens. Environment and routines can feel dull, uninspiring, and disconnected. The Fool may instead choose to contemplate, coming out of these moments wiser, and with a deeper appreciation for the opportunities that are granted to him. So you're not feeling okay there, pile one, huh? Here, let me read this again. You are not accidental. Existence needs you. Without you, something will be missing in existence, and nobody can replace it. That's what gives you dignity, yet the whole existence will miss you. The stars, sun, the moon, the trees, birds, and the earth. Everything in the universe will feel a small place is vacant, which cannot be filled by anybody except you. This gives you a tremendous joy of fulfillment that you are related to existence, and existence cares for you. Once you are clean and clear, you can see tremendous love falling on you from all dimensions. Alright, it's super important too. If on the other hand you've been feeling like the world is out to get you, it's time to take a break. Go outside tonight and look at the stars. So this whole tree of life, this is the whole tree, and this is like the apple. The fruit that hangs off the tree. You know, the whole point of this tree is to bear fruit. So this tree wouldn't be a tree if you weren't there. The Queen of Wands. Wow, what a change. Oh yeah, look at that. She looks powerful. Sitting down. She knows she belongs. And look at that beautiful, what is that, a leopard? Also knows he belongs. They both belong. They feel powerful because they know they are meant to be there. You are meant to be where you are. You can go wherever you want to go. This whole existence was made for you. The Queen of Wands. Crest is the winged leopard. Symbols: leopard, steady flames. So the characteristics of the Queen are adaptability, persistent energy, calm authority, which she knows how to use to enhance her attractiveness. Adaptability, persistent energy, calm authority. She is kind and generous, but impatient of opposition. She has immense capacity for friendship and for love, but always on her own initiative. Alright, so apparently there's a classic fiction story. The title character is named Ayesha, who is a beautiful, immortal queen who rules a land where she is known as she who must be obeyed. She is just but ruthless queen who seems to take offense quite easily. She loves her people in a selfish sort of way, but she is so self-absorbed that when the opportunity for her to experience true love presents itself, she becomes a cruel, tyrannical, savage monster. This naturally results in her unhappiness and eventual destruction. Describing the character represented by this card, Crowley uses a wonderful expression. When she misses her bite, she breaks her jaw. But that's the downside of this lovely lady. She can also be everything the world needs in a strong woman. Other Queen of Wands, whose laws we obey, were Albert Einstein and Wyatt Earp. So this really hit when I was talking about this one. When the opportunity for her to experience true love presents itself, she becomes a cruel, tyrannical, savage monster. So it feels like that existence is the true love that is presenting itself. And you are becoming a cruel, tyrannical, savage monster because this lovely existence that wants to show you some love, and you're saying, no thank you. You know, maybe there's stuff, just bad stuff that's been happening recently, so it's kind of hard to look towards the future, look towards new things that are coming, because it feels like the pattern is gonna stay the same. You know, the pattern of just either people, you know, treating us badly or existence treating us badly. But, you know, it's like, you gotta know what the bad is, so you know what good is. You gotta just understand. That's the way to understand. You know, you gotta go through some bad things so you can understand what those bad things are, so that when good things come, you know those feel different. You know what that's supposed to feel like. Abundance is coming. Yeah. It's like bad things, you know, existence. Bad things are included in existence. You know, you can't exist if there is no bad things. So, you know, not wanting bad things to happen is denying half of existence. And you know, life is like a heartbeat. So, you know, a heartbeat goes da 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 da. Alright, so this is life. So it's like you gotta know the bad, you know, but eventually you're gonna go to some good stuff, and eventually that good stuff is gonna become bad or turn bad, or something bad's gonna happen, but then things will get good again. And that's the roller coaster of life. Here, let's read the Three of Cups. So in the Cups Tree of Life, this card is talking about understanding. So if this is the one, this is the reflection of the one, this is the one that understands his reflection, that reflection is him. So we are in the understanding of emotions. And when emotions are understood, when these bad things are understood, abundance is gonna come. So let's find the Three of Cups. This is Mercury and Cancer. The three factors of our formula conspire to create a marriage made in heaven. So the formula that they're talking about is the Bina of Cups. Bina would be the 3 plus Mercury and Cancer. 3 is Bina, and then the cups would be Bria, is what it is. And so the 3 plus the cups plus Mercury and Cancer equals abundance. And it's a marriage made in heaven. Mercury is the will or word of the All-Father, Crowley states. Here its influence descends upon the most receptive of the signs. An exuberant interpretation of the Golden Dawn model, Harris fills the surface of the 3 of Cups to overflowing. The images crowd to the very edges of the card. Her choice of colors is drawn directly from the dictated scales, with one stunning exception, the bright red pomegranate cups. Ooh, and pomegranate deals with, I think it's Persephone, who Hades tricked her into going down into the underworld, and then tricked her by giving her some pomegranates so that she is forced to live part of the year in the underworld with him. So eating the pomegranates you could see as death, or the bad part of the year, which could also be considered as winter. But is winter really a bad part of the year? Not really, it's just different. So these bright red pomegranate cups, they are elevated above a tranquil sea by lotuses and filled with living water by other overhanging lotus blossoms. Crowley calls this card of Demeter and Persephone. This is the card of Demeter and Persephone and the fulfillment of the will of love and abounding joy. It is the spiritual basis of fertility. One could not ask for a more perfect picture of sensuous pleasure and plenty. The imagery of the pomegranates, however, carries a subtle warning. Abundance has its price. Because she swallowed a few seeds of the pomegranate, Persephone was obliged to spend part of every year in the dark realms of her husband Pluto, the Lord of the Dead. None of the gods of Olympus, not even great Zeus, could break the spell. Crowley interprets it as thus. The lesson seems to be that the good things of life, although enjoyed, should be distrusted. Yeah, so going back to this thing, when you get to the good part, like eventually you're gonna hit a bad part again. And that's life, The 8 of Wands. So something has happened, but it's gonna happen quickly. No, that's interesting too. That same, there's existence. You could say this 4 of Cups is down. This Queen of Wands could be the, and then we get to abundance, and then we're eventually gonna go down again. Eight of Wands. This is the Tree of Life. 4 Wands, which is the will, fire. And we're talking about more will. Oh, this was also talking about will. Cool. So the 8 would be down here, which is very far down the Tree of Life. Honestly, these 7, 8, 9, these cards are a little more like hard for me to get to really understand. But I think that's the point of the 7, 8, 9, because the 6 is technically where perfection lives. So you get to, but you don't know that. So you keep going, and then it's like, whoa, bad stuff. But now you know they're bad stuff because you got to know some of the good stuff. So this is about movement, energy, progress, sudden change. Now is a period of swift progress and unfettered movement. A lot of energy is suggested by this card, propelling the Fool toward her goals. It may be a busy and productive time fueled by newfound vigor. If she flows with that energy and channels it toward a single focus, she can accomplish a great deal. This is a time for the Fool to utilize this vitality and move without delay. It's probably talking about this abundance that comes after you finally accept the cup. And then it looks like this is you at the end of the story. The rebel. Look at that, he's got the same fire. And there's an eagle. Which, you know, freedom. Yeah, the links are also broken. Interesting. So this doesn't feel like freedom. And then this is like fighting these cups, fighting existence. So that looks like freedom. This is good and nice stuff, but if you lose it, then you're gonna go back to being sad. So there's a change that needs to happen. You know, enjoy both the good and the bad things. The roller coaster. Let's see what the rebel wants to let us know. Rebel is number 4. Okay. 4. The powerful and authoritative figure in this card is clearly the master of his own destiny. On his shoulder is an emblem of the sun, and the torch he holds in his right hand symbolizes the light of his own hard-won truth. Whether he is wealthy or poor, the rebel is really an emperor because he has broken the chains of society's repressive conditioning and opinions. He has formed himself by embracing all the colors of the rainbow, emerging from the dark and formless roots of his unconscious past and growing wings to fly into the sky. His very way of being is rebellious, not because he is fighting against anybody or anything, but because he has discovered his own true nature and is determined to live in accordance with it, his own existence. The eagle is his spirit animal, a messenger between earth and sky, between the highs and the lows. The rebel challenges us to be courageous enough to take responsibility for who we are and to live our truth. Yeah. People are afraid, very much afraid of those who know themselves. They have a certain power, a certain aura, and a certain magnetism, a charisma that can take out alive young people from the traditional imprisonment. The enlightened man cannot be enslaved. That is the difficulty, and he cannot be imprisoned. Every genius who has known something of the inner is bound to be a little difficult to be absorbed. He's going to be an upsetting force. Masses don't want to be disturbed, even though they may be in misery. They are in misery, but they are accustomed to the misery. And nobody who is not miserable looks like a stranger. The enlightened man is the greatest stranger in the world. He does not seem to belong to anybody. No organization confines him. No community, no society, no nation. Okay, I like this part. The masses don't want to be disturbed, even though they may be in misery. They are in misery, but they are accustomed to the misery. And anybody who is not miserable looks like a stranger. So this is the misery that's being talked about. And it's you know, they are in that pattern of being miserable. And changing the pattern is tough. But it looks like you got some quick changes. And you know this pattern, you know, must change so that you can feel abundant and be okay also when the bad things do come. And you can handle them. You know, you're not a slave like you said. This guy's free. This is a nice little story, you know, of the beginning and then bad stuff, you know, Queen of Wands. And this is being angry at what's going on. But you can also, you know, learn to control, you know, that these two both look like they know what they want. And it's probably that abundance. But don't get attached, because eventually, you know, it might go to the Four of Cups again. But this guy is okay with that. He knows everything is going to be okay. He knows that it's the pattern of life. He knows that whatever comes, he's going to be himself. You know, like Luffy in One Piece, you know, no matter what situation happens, Luffy will always be Luffy. You know, Sunshine Boy will always be Sunshine Boy. Yeah, beautiful reading. my Pikachus. Alright, let's get some final messages from the Office Oracle deck. Nope, this one and this one. Yeah. Cool. We got another 3. So this card is about divine influence. Do not give up. Keep going. Yeah. Through this bad stuff, you know. You are being helped. You're never alone. Michael and Dwight stood outside waiting for David Wallace, and the branch was still saved. They literally didn't do anything to change the to affect what was going on, but they were still saved. They had nothing to do with it, but their effort and focus was all that mattered. Their effort and focus was all that mattered. So just be you and do what you do and trust in your magic. Yeah, let's learn from this guy. Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite cards. This is number 18. Let me check my little booklet. Alright, so today is about today. Today is just about having today. It's gonna take a long time and then it's perfect. And no rush. Long story, couples. Trust. So I think that's, what needs to happen while bad things are going, but also while you have these good things. If you have patience, it means you are still waiting for something that's not happening. Go one step further and let go of that patience. A person with no patience is completely here today. They don't wait for anything, as there is nothing to wait for. Today is already here. Everything that is happening is supposed to be happening. No rush. Today is just about having today. And I think that's a perfect place to stop. Thank you so much. I'll Pikachu's. Pile 1. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. If you picked Munkidori, beautiful card. This will be your reading. One thing I do want to say about Munkidori is that I think he slept on. I think this whole Shrouded Fable packs were extremely slept on. I mean, these old monkeys, are actually pretty cool Pokemon. That's coming from a Gen 1 person, Because all the new Pokemon honestly seem kind of weird to me, but Gen 1 Pokemon were also kind of weird. It's just what I was used to. But I really like this Munkidori Pokemon. So one of his abilities is, oh no you don't. So that might be something worth noting. Maybe there's a situation where you gotta say, oh no you don't. Alright, so like always, whole point of this channel is to go Ultra Instinct. So let's just go ahead and get started. We get started with the 7 of Clouds, which is the 7 of Swords, politics. So this is the Tree of Life for Swords of the mind. We're going to be here in the nutsack, which is pretty far low down the tree, right after the sun. Keyword is victory, so there's a fight going on. The 7 of Clouds. The clouds have to do with the mind. Alright, do you recognize this man? All but the most innocent and sincere of us have a politician lurking somewhere in our minds. In fact, the mind is political. Its very nature is to plan and scheme and try to manipulate situations and people so that it can get what it wants. Here, the mind is represented by the snake, covered with clouds and speaking with a forked tongue. But the important thing to realize about this card is that both faces are false. The sweet, innocent, trust me face is a mask, and the evil, toxic, I'll have my way with you face is also a mask. Politicians don't have real faces. The whole game is a lie. Take a good look at yourself to see if you have been playing this game. What you see might be painful, but not as painful as continuing to play. It doesn't serve anybody's interest in the end, least of all yours. Whatever you might achieve in this way will just turn to dust in your hands. Anybody who can be a good pretender, a hypocrite, will become your leader politically, will become your leader politically, will become your priest religiously. All that he needs is hypocrisy. All that he needs is cunningness. All that he needs is a facade to hide behind. Your politicians live double lives. Your priests live double lives. One from the front door, the other from the back door. And the back door life is their real life. Those front door smiles are just false. Those faces looking so innocent are just cultivated. If you want to see the reality of the politician, you will have to see him from his back door. Sorry. There he is in his nudity, as he is, and so is the priest. These two kinds of cunning people have dominated humanity, and they have found out very early on that if you want to dominate humanity, make it weak, make it feel guilty, make it feel unworthy, destroy its dignity, take all glory away from it, humiliate it. They have found such subtle waves of humiliation that they don't come in the picture at all. They leave it to you to humiliate yourself, to destroy yourself. They have taught you a kind of slow suicide. So yeah, definitely, oh no you don't. But yeah, so this is politics, this is, you're a kid, and then, when you're an adult, then you have to work for the rest of your life now. It's time to be the pest for the rest of your life, I feel like in these times, our government especially, everyone is very hypocritical. Like, you gotta treat kids a certain way, but you can go ahead and screw adults over because they're adults now. We gotta change that. I feel like we need to treat other adults as if they were kids as well, because they are kids. Like if God was really Father, then that's the adult. So us humans would, since we're our sons, that means we're just kids. So even if you're 90 years old, you're still a kid. You're no adult that knows more than everyone else. It's adults just say you tell an adult if he wants to lose weight, and then they sell like pills now to lose weight. Like if a kid asked you, hey, I want to lose weight, how do I do it? Are you gonna give him those pills to lose weight? No, you're gonna tell him exercise, eat differently. But as adults, let's give them pills that make them lose weight instead of telling them the same thing that I would tell a kid, which would be, eat better, do some exercise, move around. So this is what I think is especially wrong, especially now in the world, is that we treat adults differently as if they're not kids. And so these adults are doing these things that kids aren't supposed to do, and that's why they feel so shitty. I think if we have set rules for kids, that should be the set rules for adults too, to help them out. And then then adults can be childish. The adults can be as happy as kids are. Adults can be as joyous and carefree. Like taxes, we don't expect kids to pay taxes, so why do we expect adults now to pay taxes? I don't know, it's a celebration. Interesting. What are we celebrating? This is the 3 of Cups. So in the Tree of Life, we are in the 3, we're above the abyss, so there's nothing up here, technically. We're in the understanding part of our emotions, which is why there's a celebration. Maybe understanding, what's going on instead of playing this game. When you understand it and you know you don't want to play anymore, then that would be a huge celebration to stop playing these games. Celebration. These 3 women dancing in the wind and the rain remind us that celebration never need depend on outside circumstances. Ooh, yeah, so kids, adults, what are adults gonna tell a kid when it's raining like this? They're gonna say, come inside, don't get wet. But what does the kid want to do? The kid wants to go outside and splash in some puddles. Now look at these adults having fun, splashing in the puddles, doing what a kid would want to do. But adults have to be responsible and go inside, or don't go outside and get wet. I think that's what this card is definitely trying to say. So do things, act like a kid. That's why kids are always so happy, because they are more carefree than adults. They don't have, responsibilities. They don't have all these human-made structures in their mind that they learn as they grow up. True celebration arises from a joy that is first experienced deep within and spills over into an overflow of song and dance and laughter, and yes, even tears of gratitude. When you choose this card, it indicates that you are becoming more and more available and open to many opportunities that are to celebrate in life, and to spread this by contagion to others. Don't bother about scheduling a party on your calendar, which is something an adult would do. Let your hair down, take your shoes off, and start splashing in the puddles right now. The party is happening all around you every moment. Life is a moment to celebrate, to enjoy. Make it fun, a celebration, and then you will enter the temple. The temple is not for the long-faced, has never been for them. Look at life. Do you see sadness anywhere? Have you ever seen a tree depressed? Have you ever seen a bird anxiety-ridden? Have you ever seen an animal neurotic? No, life is not like that, not at all. Only man has gone wrong somewhere, and he has gone wrong somewhere because he thinks himself to be very wise, very clever. Your cleverness is your disease. Don't be too wise. Always remember to stop. Don't go to the extreme. A little foolishness and a little wisdom is good, and the right combination makes you a Buddha. Yeah, so say, oh, no, you don't, to these things that, really don't make us feel good, really doesn't help anyone except for the 1%. What about us, the rest of us 99%ers? The Hanged Man. Interesting. Because to me this is like the Jesus card. Imagine actually going through what he did. Imagine being crucified by the people you're trying to help. And imagine, literally being just treated like shit, having to carry that cross, being nailed to a cross, and he's still saying, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. If I went through everything that he did, I would be pissed. I would have exploded. I would have been punching people left and right. I would have been like, no, oh no, you don't. But this is the card about, knowing everything happens for a reason. But that's funny too, because Jesus was literally saying, oh no, you don't, to what was going on in his time. But I'll read what the Hangman is about. This is card number 12. The Hanged Man is about surrender, sacrifice, inactivity, waiting, acceptance. Hangman finds himself upside down on a cross, apparently unconcerned about his seemingly precarious state. At first he struggled, but he quickly learned that this would just deplete his energy, so he let himself relax. With his new perspective, all the cares he had the day before seemed trivial. He also knows that this is the sacrifice he needs to make in order to achieve his goal. Think of the larger goal. Focus on the bigger picture and the little sacrifices that you make to get there don't seem so bad. Know what you can't control. Achieving certain goals will depend on other people or external circumstances, which are beyond your control. Try to focus instead on what you have power over. Perhaps it's time to look inward rather than outward. Interesting. So if you do want to do, if this does make you feel horrible, it makes you want to fight back, stop, because, you know, if a person that is hanged, if he struggles, it's just going to hurt more. That's why he is relaxed and has let what is happening happen. That doesn't mean keep following and keep doing, you know, what you're told to. That's not what you would want to do. That means, you know, what it said, see what you do have control over and focus on that, on how you can help with what you can control. You know, obviously we can't change everything just like that in a moment, but everyone can do their little part. Everyone can, you know, not play the game. Maybe that's literally all you gotta do, you know, not fight the game, but not play anymore. You know, if it's not fun, if I'm not having fun with the game, why would I want to keep playing it? Yeah, 5 of Swords. Yeah, this guy is taking everything from these other ones. Look at all the swords he has. They got no swords. I think this is literally what's happening right now. These people are taking all of these swords. And we are feeling like this. I don't know what this is now. Interesting. 10 of Pentacles. I'll read the 10 of Pentacles. Ten of Discs. Wealth. So this is Mercury and Virgo. The 10 of Discs represent the climax of the descent of matter and is the signal for the reintegration by spirit. The climax of the descent of matter and is the signal for the reintegration by spirit. So here, this is how. So this is A1, and then it explodes into all of these, and then all of these, after you explore and play around, comes back into one, and that's where we are. So that's important. The climax of the descent of matter and reintegration by spirit, coming back together after this split, coming back together. Crowley calls this card a hieroglyph of the cycle of regeneration. It is, after all, the last tarot card. It represents the lowest sphere, Malkuth, which is Earth, of the lowest Kabbalistic world, which is Asaya, the material plane. The tens of the other suits have somewhere to go. They simply cooperate with gravity and degenerate into the next lower suit. For the 10 of Discs, there is no place to descend, no place to grow, no place to go. The 10 of Discs is forced to do something that no other small card has called upon to do. From its position at the bottom of the cosmos, it has somehow to form a link with the secret of creation, then actually reincarnate fresh and new at the very top of the tarot cycle. In other words, it must regenerate the world. That's some trick, and it's going to take the biggest structure in the universe to help pull it off. That's so cool. You wanted this to change, and this guy, this guy is gonna help. I mean, this is what you want here. How did he do it? It's gotta happen again. First, let's take a look at the card. All right. Yeah, I'll keep going. This is an important card. So Lady Harris, which is the lady that drew all the pictures, interpretation is almost comically poignant. A tree of life made entirely of massive and heavy coins. Its Malkuth bulging at the bottom as if the forces and energies of all the tarot cards, all the Sephiroth and paths, all the Kabbalistic worlds have settled into it like the tired sediment of the entire universe. For lack of a more gentle illusion, this card is the portrait of cosmic constipation. A magical laxative will need to be administered to prevent this stagnant wealth of energy, experience, and matter from putrefying and poisoning the body. Yeah, so it's gonna take a lot to change this into this. But it's possible. Is there a doctor in the house? Yes, the best doctor in the universe, the god of physicians and magicians, the god who, tradition informs us, invented the tarot, which is Thoth / Hermes / Mercury. They're all the same people, just different names. Thoth, and we are in the Thoth Tarot. Hermes, I love Hermes. So this is perfect for a job like this. His credentials are amazing. First of all, as Mercury the Magus, he knows his way around the supernal triad. Remember that the path of Mercury is above the abyss and joins Kether to Bina, which is this part. As Hermes, he descended to the lowest region of the land of the dead and returned to Olympus with Persephone to regenerate the cycle of seasons, which is what we apparently want to do about this situation. If you could do that, jump-starting the 10 of disc is going to be a piece of cake. His greatest credential is that he is Thoth, the inventor and sustainer of this entire tarot universe. As if to attract Mercury's attention so that he may perform this most necessary magic, Harris painted this card as a veritable invocation of Mercury, all the Sephiroth but one bear an image or word sacred to Mercury. So Kether is the symbol for Mercury. Chakma is right here. Chakma is this one. Here, let's go like this. This one, which is the symbol of Mercury as the Magus. Note the right-angled positions of the arms are identical to the gesture made by the Magus in the Magus card. So this is Bina, and the symbol of alchemical Mercury. This is just said. The letter Pa, the Enochian equivalent of the letter B. Harris associated this with the Hebrew letter Beth, which is assigned to Mercury. We got Geburah over here, this is the Hebrew letter Beth. We got the Tephrath, the name of Raphael written in Hebrew. That's cool. The ruling angel of Mercury. Nice, that's dope. Alright, and we're in Netzach, the 8-pointed star of Mercury. This is Had, the hexagram within the hexagon symbol of the sun. Yesod, the Pythagorean tetractys, and Malkuth, the mercurial caduceus. I don't know how to say that. Made from the 3 mother letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Cool. Yeah, we're getting deep in here. If you wanna do something about what's going on, or understand, So why do all the Sephiroth contain an image of Mercury except Had, the sphere of Mercury itself, which is this one? So that is a very good question. Crowley mentions it as being the key to this remarkable regenerative process. These discs are inscribed with various symbols of mercurial character, except that the coin in the place of Had on the tree is marked with the cipher of the sun. This indicates the only possibility of issue from the impasse produced by the exhaustion of all the elemental forces. I take this to mean that at this stage of the game, Mercury needs inspiration and direction. Crowley said it most succinctly. When wealth accumulates beyond a certain point, it must either become completely inert and cease to be wealth, or call in the aid of intelligence to use it rightly. In this way, Carnage establishes a library. Rockefeller endows research simply because there is nothing else to do. So it must either become completely inert and cease to be wealth, or call in the aid of intelligence to use it rightly. By plugging in the sun and the sphere of Mercury in a tree of life otherwise loaded with Mercury, Harris is calling in the aid of intelligence to give this card the spiritual integrity necessary to regenerate the world and become the ultimate cosmic philanthropist. And then, how I should like to do them all again. Harris to Crowley. It's usually what happens at the end. You wanna, when you finish a game, all you wanna do is play again. When you play a Fortnite game and it's over, wanna play another game. So yeah, this was a heavy card, but these things are hard to understand. But our sun, this is where our holy guardian angel lives. If you don't understand this right now, I promise you your holy guardian angel will understand, and just keep looking out for signs and you will understand what is needed to do. It'll be repeated, but it'll be a quiet repetition. So pay attention to the works. This is actually pretty cool. We got another 3, and this works the celebration of dealing with this, and this. By being like this, the sun. There's the sun that's needed, which is you. And okay, back to the tree of life. So here we are in the 3 of the Pentacle tree of life, which is the understanding above the abyss, right before you cross the abyss. So down here things are material, can be seen, but up here there's nothing. And so this is the 3rd disc of nothing that's about to be materialized. This is a heavy reading pile too. My Munkidoris. But I mean, we are going through a heavy situation. So 3 of discs, work. Lord of material works. So although in the Book of Thoth, Crowley consistently refers to this card as work, the title that appears on Lady Harris's painting is works. In either case, the factors that determine its character, which is the Bina, which is 3 of Asaya, which is discs, another disc card, and Mars is Mars and Capricorn. So make this card among all the abstract supernal triad small cards the most unabstract, because it's about to be materialized. Alright, whatever. So in a very real way, the 3 of discs is the material heart of the 3-stroke engine that drives the universe that we discussed in card 10, which I think is, I'm not sure, I don't remember. I'm not gonna say something that's I'm not sure is true. Crowley says it is the material establishment of the idea of the universe, the determination of its basic form. That's cool. So up here we're still in nothing. We're in idea mode, but the idea is very printed in mind, so that it can be printed outside as well. So the image is an aerial view of a pyramid or tetrahedron firmly fixed on a desolate desert, representing the great sea of Bina, which is 3, the 3rd Sephiroth. The gray sand dunes seem to have been formed by blasts of energy emanating from the structure, which itself is supported by 3 great wheels. Although they are very small and difficult to see, the symbols of the alchemical elements mercury, sulfur, and salt appear in the hubs of the 3 wheels, suggesting the eternal universe-sustaining competition of the 3 gunas of the Hindu system. Oof, I feel tired just because of this reading. This is gonna be a lot of work, but a lot of celebrating is gonna be most of the work. A lot of saying, oh no you don't. I'm gonna do what I can control, and I'm not gonna feel like this about things I can't control, because when I go like this with more groups of people, then less and less people are gonna be like this. And this is the whole work that needs to be done. And I admire your kind of people. I also would like to do something about what is going on. Apparently, we gotta do it together. Alright, let's get a last. Oh! Okay. So I'll go here first, and then I'll put this one here. So this is the Tower card. Alright, I like... Oh man, this feels exhausting. The whole reading felt exhausting, but with these two cards coming up, kind of made me feel a little bit easier. Because, I mean, what is going on is exhausting, you know. Alright, I feel like I keep going to 31, so I'm gonna switch these because they did land over here. Alright, I think this is what we need. Okay, so this is about chaos. So this is a quote from Nellie, straight from The Office. I walked right into a job for which I was ill-prepared, ill-suited, and somebody else already had, and I got it. Anything can happen to anyone. It's just random. So everything that's going on right now, I mean, it's random. Random things can happen that, you know, might get you a job for which you were ill-prepared, ill-suited, and that somebody else already had. Or, you know, whatever's going on. Things can get better, but it might be random things that happen. You know, we can't think about it too much. We can't force it. We can't have this face. What we can do is our best. So take pi, for example, 3.14152965939. So if I show you that string of digits, you could immediately recognize it as pi. But if you didn't know what pi was, you would say that those are just a string of random numbers. You wouldn't think that there is an order to it. Now if I didn't start the sequence at the beginning, if I started at the 100th digit of pi, would you still recognize it as pi? Or would you just think it's a random sequence of numbers? This is what chaos is. It may seem random, but there is an order to it. Pi, no matter how random it seems, will always be pi. And life is pi. So this seems very chaotic, but there is an order to this that will get us to this place, I believe. And this is the random stuff that will happen. I feel like, I mean, it popped up, so obviously it's gonna happen. And this is the Tower of Mistakes. So, you know, even before, you might have thought this was okay, what was going on, you know, but eventually, you know, it's a mistake. So it's just a mistake. That's what this tower is all about, mistakes. If you're afraid of screwing up, then this tower isn't for you. Plop. Straight out of the words of plop. So that, yeah, the Tower of Mistakes, don't be afraid of screwing up. And if you already have made a mistake, forgive yourself and move on. You know, fix the situation if you caused a situation. And then rise up like the phoenix from the ashes. Got a lot of work to do, pile 2. Thank you so much for all of this work that you're doing to try to help this situation. I got your back. I hope you got mine. See you in the next reading. Hello, pile 3. If you chose Jirachi, this will be your reading. Beautiful card, beautiful Pokemon. Alright, so I will say that one of Jirachi's abilities is Wish Connector. And Pokemon even looks like a star. So if the star card comes out, I'm gonna poop myself. But yeah, I think it's cool. There's a lot about wishes, so I hope this reading is all about your wishes coming true. But we shall see. Oh, that wanted to come out. Might as well get this one too. And then this one. Yeah, cool. Alright, so the whole point of this channel is to go Ultra Instinct, so we'll just go ahead and get started. Friendliness. Nice, nice. Good energy to start. Jirachi would probably be pretty friendly. Okay, so we got the Two of Water, which is the Two of Emotions, or the Two of Cups. So this is the Tree of Life right here. For water and emotions, you would be right here, above the abyss and the nothing. And this one talks about wisdom. So if this is the one, this is the reflection of one, kind of like looking in the mirror. And then this one is when he finally understands that he is the one in the mirror. Which is why there's two of them. The one and the one in the mirror. And this is about our emotions. The branches of these two flowering trees are intertwined, and their fallen petals blend together on the ground in their beautiful colors. It is as if heaven and earth are bridged by love, but they stand individually, each rooted in the soil and their own connection with the earth. In this way, they represent the essence of true friends, mature, easy with each other, natural. There is no urgency about their connection, no neediness, no desire to change the other into something else. This card indicates a readiness to enter this quality of friendliness. In the passage, you may notice that you are no longer interested in all kinds of dramas and romances that other people are engaged in. It is not a loss. It is the birth of a higher, more loving quality born of the fullness of experience. It is the birth of a love that is truly unconditional, without expectations or demands. First, meditate. Be blissful. Then much love will happen of its own accord. Then being with others is beautiful, and being alone is also beautiful. Yeah, just like these rooted, they're happy together, but they're also happy being rooted by themselves. Then it is simple too. You don't depend on others, and you don't make others dependent on you, like these trees. Then it is always a friendship, a friendliness. It never becomes a relationship, it is always a relatedness. You relate, but you don't create a marriage. Marriage is out of fear. Relatedness is out of love. You relate as long as things are moving beautifully, you share. And if you see that the moment has come to depart because your paths separate at this crossroad, you say goodbye with great gratitude for all that the other has been to you, for all the joys and all the pleasures and all the beautiful moments that you have shared with the other. With no misery, with no pain, you simply separate. Yeah, friendliness. I love that. That's a beautiful card. Cool. The Four of Swords. So the Swords deals with the mind. And we are in 4, Chesed, which is the first materialization of the mind, I guess you could say. Rest. Laying down. What does that have to do with friendliness, though? We shall see. Rest. I guess these trees are resting pretty cozy together. Forest Swords. Rest. Retreat. Healing. Sanctuary. The fool knows that she cannot go further without a time of retreat and recuperation. She has faced a lot of pressure, grief, and sadness from a traumatic event or chronic stress. The Four of Swords is a time of healing, self-protection, and self-care. In the quiet of solitude, she finds sanctuary. She must conserve and replenish her energy to prepare for what comes next. Okay, so for friendliness, maybe you gotta be friendly to yourself in this time of solitude, rest, of healing. Maybe you're a person who doesn't like being alone. I didn't like being alone for the longest time. But being alone is very necessary to be able to heal whatever you need to heal, instead of going to others for dependency, you gotta be able to create your own roots that make you grow. So I think this is the root part of, this tree is alone over here, but it's together up here. So I think this card is talking about this root part of being solitude in the dark, but being okay, with yourself. Like, the cool thing about being in solitude is that there is no one there to hurt you. The only one that can hurt you is yourself. So if you are hurt when you are alone, then try to figure out why you keep hurting yourself, because there's no one around. Like right now, me in this room, there's literally no one around. So we can say that the only thing that exists is me and everything else that is inside my own room. So there is nothing that is hurting me here. So if I start thinking about things that have hurt me outside of this room, that's me hurting myself, and that's not them still hurting me. At that point, that's me hurting myself. So if you're in solitude, and if you're hurting yourself, try being more friendly towards yourself. Or see why it keeps bringing up, if something keeps popping up, then there's a reason for it. And oh, my dog is coming. Hi, baby. Hi. Yeah, my dog is the friendliest thing that can be. Yeah, so see, now I'm not alone in my room. I am with my dog, and my dog isn't gonna hurt me. But if I keep, feeling sad or hurt or any kind of pain at all, that's still me doing the damage, That's why solitude is great for healing. Because at that point, the only one that can hurt you is yourself. So it's a good way to go back to neutral. Go back to a state of, restfulness. Three of Swords, yeah. There is definitely something going on here that you need to be more friendly to yourself about. You need to rest about this. Look at that. That does not look like it feels good. The Three of Swords. So we got the Four of Swords and the Three of Swords. So this Three of Swords is up here in the understanding of this reflection, and it's about to go to the materialization. So it really, really hurts, especially when you actually understand what is hurting you, and you don't like it. It's gonna hurt. But instead of fighting it, pain, like in Naruto, pain creates more pain. Great arc, best arc of any anime out there. I love pain arc. But yeah, this is, pain creates more pain. If you fight it, it's just gonna create more pain instead of trying to understand it, But I'll still read out of, I'll read the Three of Swords. Yeah, heartbreak, sorrow, suffering, separation, grief. Betrayal and suffering are marked by the Three of Swords. The heart is pierced with fierce words and angry actions, and the fool may find himself more easily distressed by opinions or judgments. It is here where logic and objectivity will be helpful tools. What pain the heart bears, the mind sees with clarity, finds solutions, and knows that it will pass. The swords are the suit of communication, logic, and intellect. Have your wounds come from miscommunication, criticism, malicious gossip, or even the pain of realizing the cold hard facts? Yeah, the pain of realizing the cold hard facts. That really hits, right? I feel. You want to change what's going on, but I mean, there's no changing it. It is what it is. It is what's going on. So you just gotta accept the fact that it's happening, and rest those angry emotions. Rest those emotions is probably what's going on. So a little bit of friendliness towards yourself. Don't hurt yourself like the ones around you are hurting you. How can you release these emotions? Pull out the swords to let your wounds heal. Can you let pain strengthen rather than diminish you? Focus on your strength. Think of the heartbreaks you have survived and whether the pain lasted as long as you thought it would. Let your knowledge of these past wounds that healed soothe you now and make your suffering easier to bear. Yeah, so like if I broke my wrist, and it hurts, like I can't do anything about it or not hurting, I just gotta let it heal and then it'll stop hurting. And even then, if something is hurting, it's your emotions telling you, hey, something is going on here. Let's see what else we got. The Prince of Wands, and he's staring right at me. Okay. This is the Heir of Fire. Oh wait, Prince. Yeah. Prince of Wands. This is the Heir of Fire. So imagine a fire, and then put more air in it. The fire is just gonna keep growing. So that's the same way pain creates more pain. If there's pain and you over here blowing it with more air, then that pain is gonna increase. So Prince of Wands. He is romantic, and especially in matters of history and tradition, to the point of folly, and may engineer stunts or play elaborate practical jokes. He is often violent, especially in the expression of an opinion, but he does not necessarily hold the opinion about which he is so emphatic. His character is intensely noble and generous. He may be an extravagant boaster, while slyly laughing both at the object of his boast and at himself for making it. His courage is fanatically strong, and his endurance indefatigable. He's always fighting against odds and always wins in the very long run. Cool. So I think the important part is he is often violent, especially in the expression of an opinion, but he does not necessarily hold the opinion about which he is so emphatic. So I don't know if that's you hear opinions about yourself and then you keep repeating that to yourself in your solitude when you actually don't believe it, but it hurts that somebody else thinks that way of you. That definitely hurts, especially if it's like someone like your parents. I definitely know how that feels. So yeah, there's this is a huge part of this. Be friendlier to yourself. Interesting. 5 of the Hierophant. This is the ultimate teacher. So whatever is going on needs to be seen more as something you can learn than keep, stabbing yourself in the heart instead of doing that. So picture like if you're starting something new, you know, obviously you're gonna make mistakes at the beginning. You're not gonna be perfect. You know, you're gonna wrong things are gonna be happening, but you're learning. You know, every time you make a mistake, you'll learn not to do that again. So yeah, it's the same way over here, you know. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to feel hurt, you know. But instead of, you know, dreading that and telling yourself you're the worst because you made a mistake, telling yourself you're the worst because you're hurt, you know, and then just keep hurting, instead of that, well, pretend that you're doing something new. You know, you're making a mistake and you learn from that mistake, and then you know how to do things right, you know, after practice. So think of these swords that are stabbing you in the heart. Instead of you yourself stabbing you, take a little rest from it, from the stabbing, and see if you can learn something from it, or see what these emotions are trying to tell you. Instead of fighting them and creating more pain, listen to them and see what they're trying to tell you. Because this guy is a good teacher, and he will tell you a lot of things you don't know. The Hierophant. So this is the zodiacal trump of Taurus. The Tree of Life Path 16. It joins Chakma, which is right here, to Chesed. So it crosses the abyss. This whole dude is up here and down here. He's nothing, and he also has materialized. So he's a good person to learn from, because crossing the abyss is a great adventure, I guess. It's a great difficult task too. Alright. The Hierophant. Offer thyself virgin to the knowledge and conversation of thine holy guardian angel. All else is a snare. Yeah, this guy is our holy guardian angel. Be thou athlete with the 8 limbs of yoga, for without these thou art not disciplined for any fight. So start listening to these swords that are stabbing your heart. They're trying to teach you something. It's your holy guardian angel trying to get you out of this and into a more friendly rest. Playfulness again. Oh wow, yeah, look at that. Yeah, there's playfulness and friendliness surrounding all of this heartbreak. Man, this had nothing to do with your wishes. Or maybe you wish to be more playful and friendly with yourself. I mean, obviously, if you're hurting, you wish to be more happy, you know? So instead of fighting this pain, stare right at it. Ask it what it's telling you, what you need to know, what you need to do. Treat yourself a little friendlier, a little more playful. Pretend that you're that little kid. You know, would you talk to him the way you've been talking to yourself? Or how would you talk to that little kid? You know, all of us are little at one point. Little and playful and friendly. And he's still in there, you know, he hasn't changed, you haven't changed. That, you know, oh, you're an adult now? Ooh. No, you're still that kid. You're still that same kid. So yeah, pretend you're still that same kid. Don't pretend you are still that same kid. So would you keep talking to that kid and in a horrible, rude, horrible way, or would you be more friendly? Would you be more calm and patient with him? Would you say, hey, everything's gonna be okay? Or would you fight that little kid? Playfulness. Or would you play with him? Or her? Alright, so this is the Page of Fire, which is the Princess of Fire, which is this is the pages of the court cards are the kids. The court cards start with the page, and then I feel like they end with the page, because after you be the queen, you be the king, you be orderly. Being orderly is kind of painful after a long time. Like if we are really infinite and we have the same pattern, and we just keep doing that same pattern over and over again, I mean, we're gonna eventually get tired of it, and we're gonna eventually want to be playful again instead of being so structured. So this Page of Fire. Life is rarely as serious as we believe it to be. That's huge. And when we recognize the fact, it responds by giving us more and more opportunities to play. The woman in this card is celebrating the joy of being alive, like a butterfly that has emerged from its chrysalis into the promise of the light. Yeah, so imagine the caterpillar in the cocoon. Like, do you really think the caterpillar is going to be like, oh, time to turn into a butterfly? Not all it's known. All its life is I'm crawling around, having a good time. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of stuff starts dissolving, And then it goes in this cocoon, and I don't know what happens to the cocoon. I don't think it's probably not fun. But I mean, you think the caterpillar is like just going, what the hell is going on? I doubt that caterpillar is like, awesome, I'm about to turn into a butterfly. Nah, it's probably tough in that cocoon, in that solitude. But eventually it does turn into a butterfly and it starts flying. And then it's probably feeling like, whoa, I was crawling around my whole life. So you're crawling around. This is you crawling around. And then as soon as you start being a little more friendly with yourself and a little more playful with yourself, you're going to be flying around over there. And my dog agrees. She reminds us of the time when we were children, discovering seashells on the beach or building castles in the sand, without any concern that the waves might come and wash them away in the next moment. She knows that life is a game, and she's playing the part of clown right now with no sense of embarrassment or pretense. When the Page of Fire enters your life, it is a sign that you are ready for the fresh and the new. Oh yeah. Something wonderful is just on the horizon, and you have just the right quality of playful innocence and clarity to welcome it with open arms. If you don't now, just rest and be a little friendly to yourself, and I promise you that you will start feeling it. The moment you start seeing life as non-serious, a playfulness, and all the burden on your heart disappears. All the fear of death, of love, of life, everything disappears. One starts living with a very light weight, or almost no weight. So wait lest one becomes, one can fly in the open sky. Yeah, you're gonna stop crawling around. Zen's greatest contribution is to give you an alternative to the serious man. The serious man has made the world. The serious man has made all the religions. He has created all the philosophies, all the cultures, all the moralities. Everything that exists around you is a creation of the serious man. Zen has dropped out of the serious world, has created a world of its own which is very playful, full of laughter, where even great masters behave like children. Yeah, in your solitude, start doing that. Have fun. See, remember what you used to love doing as a kid, and start doing that in your solitude. and that'll for sure get you to be more friendly and playful. Like right away. There's gonna be no time needed to heal. You're gonna just heal just like that. Yeah, and that's your wish coming true, is you being more friendly and playful with yourself and start having fun in this serious life. All right, let's get some last words from the Office Oracle deck. The Tower, yeah, all this sorrow needs to be destroyed. And destroyed by, not playing with the swords anymore. Start playing with these beautiful trees. Tower of Mistakes. That's what this is about. Quote from Plop. It's just a mistake. That's what this tower is all about. Mistakes. If you're afraid of screwing up, then this tower isn't for you. Plop. So yeah, Tower of Mistakes. Don't be afraid of screwing up. If you've already made a mistake, just forgive yourself and move on. If you messed up a situation with someone else, forgive yourself. Say sorry, fix the situation, and move on. Stop meddling with those swords so that it hurts more. Rise up like the phoenix from the ashes. What? Dude, another pile got literally the same two cards, but the flip-flopped. That's kind of cool. Chaos. I walked right into a job for which I was ill-prepared, ill-suited, and somebody else already had, and I got it. Anything can happen to anyone. It's just random. Quote from Nelly. Especially when you're being friendly and playful, random things will start happening that lead you right to where you need to be. Especially if you already destroyed this foundation. This is at a weak foundation. Especially all this. So when you reconstruct it playfully, they were angry that Kevin knocked down the tower, but Plop said, hey, it's okay, we can reconstruct it again, let's have fun, we're here to have fun. And look at how happy they ended. Yeah, I think that's literally all that needs to be said. All right, have more fun with yourself. Treat yourself a bit nicer. I know exactly. I had anxiety and depression for the longest time as well, and I definitely have not been nice to myself. But I am now. In this room by myself, I'm having fun. Like with these, I found stuff that I enjoy, and I'm having fun time learning, a fun time playing, fun time having fun with my dog that wants to go outside right now. So go outside, have fun. See you next time. Hello, pile 4. If you chose the Absol card, this will be your reading. Absolutely gorgeous card. And super underrated Pokemon. Look at that. What a cool creature. Hell yeah. Alright, so it does, one of its attack moves is Future Sight. So I felt like saying something about that. I don't know if you have Future Sight right now, something that you've been thinking that might happen or is gonna happen. It could be that you are psychically, just on point with life and its patterns right now. Or it could be that that's just a really cool Pokemon and you really liked it, so you chose this pile because it's a cool Pokemon. Oh, nice. Those two came out together. Either way, whole point of this channel is to go Ultra Instinct. So we will go ahead and get started. beautiful, with receptivity. This is a very feminine card, because that's what being receptive is, you know. The woman receives the sperm and then makes a baby out of it. Receives this tiny little thing, and a whole person is created from that, which is pretty cool. Receptivity. And this is of emotions. Which is why we're also talking about the feminine. It's more about the emotion. I'm having a hard time finding this card. So maybe you're having a hard time being receptive. Alright, found it. The Queen. This is a Queen of Water. She's also the Queen of Cups. Alright, receptivity represents the feminine. Receptive quality of water and of the emotions. Yeah, so it's like when you throw a rock in a pool of water, you know, the water isn't gonna reject that rock and push it back. No, it's gonna be receptive, and it's gonna receive that rock, and it's gonna include that rock into its pool of water. Her arms are extended upwards to receive, and she is completely immersed in the water. She has no head, no busy and aggressive mind to hinder her pure receptivity. Yeah, the mind is a masculine part, so there is no need for that right now. And as she is filled, she is continuously emptying herself, overflowing and receiving more. The lotus pattern or matrix that emerges from her represents the perfect harmony of the universe that becomes apparent when we are in tune with it. The Queen of Water brings a time of unboundness and gratitude for whatever life brings, without any expectations or demands. Neither duty or thought of merit or reward are important. Sensitivity, intuition, and compassion are the qualities that shine forth now, dissolving all the obstacles that keep us separate from each other and from the whole. Listening is one of the basic secrets of entering into the temple of God. Listening means passivity. Listening means forgetting yourself completely. Only then can you listen. When you listen when you listen attentively, why is that so hard to say? When you listen attentively to somebody, see, I'm a better listener than I am a speaker. When you listen attentively to somebody, you forget yourself. If you cannot forget yourself, you never listen. If you are too self-conscious about yourself, you simply pretend that you are listening. You don't listen. You may nod your head, you may sometimes say yes and no, but you are not listening. When you listen, you become just a passage, a passivity, a receptivity, a womb. You become feminine. Notice it didn't say a woman. You become feminine. Everyone is feminine and masculine. And to arrive, one has to become feminine. You cannot reach God as aggressive invaders, conquerors. You can reach God only, or it will be better to say, God can reach you only when you are receptive. A feminine receptivity. When you become yin, a receptivity, the door is open, and you wait. Listening is the art for becoming passive. Dude, I feel so calm right now. This feels so nice. I love all the blue in this card. Listen. Yeah, that feels nice. The Two of Pentacles. The Tree of Life here. We are in the mirror in the abyss. So this is a very abstract term that will be talked about. I'm at the Two of Pentacles. Maintaining balance. Flowing. Cycling energy. Listening. Resources come and go, and though pentacles keep being exchanged, the Fool always seems to have two. There is balance here. These exchanges create a dynamic but harmonic equilibrium. With her knowledge of value, she can create momentum and grow her pentacles. She may feel overstretched now, but she will be rewarded over time if she masters balancing this material energy. So maybe you are the opposite of me. You speak a lot. So to balance yourself out, it's time to listen for a little bit. Or there is something about balancing out by listening and receiving. How do you manage your resources? Observe nature. What do you do when you have many commitments and responsibilities but very little time, energy, or finances? Life always seems to pull us in many directions. You can acknowledge all these pulls, but how can you prioritize? What do you value the most? Listen to yourself. So see how these waves are all very wavy, but these waves are very calm. Observe nature. She is the ultimate guide to dynamic balance. Oh, wow. This is the ultimate nature one. Okay, she is the ultimate guide to dynamic balance. She constantly transforms energy and matter. So move these around. She trades sunlight for leaves, decaying carcasses for new life. Flowers give nectar to butterflies, while butterflies give the flowers the possibility for reproduction. Everything finds equilibrium. Yeah, so the same way as, if I'm a woman that receives the sperm and then creates a baby, So there's something about something being received and then something else will come out. Knight of Wands, damn, and he's jumping right into this Two of Pentacles. So he's jumping right into this receiving and then something coming out. The Knight of Wands. I think this is the Fire of Fire. Listen. Alright, the Knight of Wands. Yeah, the Fire of Fire. The moral qualities appropriate to this figure are activity, generosity, fierceness, impetuosity, pride, impulsiveness, swiftness, and unpredictable actions. If wrongly energized, he is evil-minded, cruel, bigoted, and brutal. He is either case ill-fitted to carry on his action. He has no means of modifying it according to circumstances. If he fails in his first effort, he has no resource. Interesting. So it doesn't sound like this Knight of Wands is very good at listening. It sounds like he's just, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go for it and I'm going to fail. And if I fail, then that's that. Instead of, going for it and then if modifications are needed, then modifications will be done. And if I fail, I will figure out and listen for a different way to do it. So representing the Fire of Fire, the Knight of Wands certainly has the potential of being the strongest member of the court cards. He represents the Yod subdivision of the of this yod. Here you go. Of this yod. So this would be the everything, you know, like let's just go with directions. So there's north, east, south, west, right? And that encompasses all directions. So same way with the Yod Hevadha, it's northeast, southwest. So let's just say we're talking about the north. And that's the Yod, which is the beginning. Interesting. And being receptive, that is the beginning of two coming out, of something else emerging from whatever is received. So this is the portrait of someone who is riding a rocket, and that can be very risky. The rocket isn't aimed properly. He or she misses the target. If there is not enough fuel, he or she crashes. If there's too much fuel, the person explodes. But if everything goes well, it is the most spectacular of successes. Robert Fulton, Indira Gandhi, Robert Kennedy, Frank Sinatra, and Mary Queen of Scots all were Knight of Wands. Cool. So there's something about really going after it. I guess after you receive whatever it is you're receiving, there's action that will transform this into something else. The Aeon. Wow. This is an intense card. Interesting. There's two people here as well. This really sounds like a go-getter. The Aeon. This is a cool card. Very intense. Be every act an act of love and worship. Be every act the fiat of God. Be every act a source of radiant glory. Ooh, okay, interesting. Alright. Alright, I really like this little passage. Okay, so the god had it pictured as the winged solar disk is nearly camouflaged. I think it's this guy. Is nearly camouflaged by the entire scene. This is the most appropriate, for these are among his open words in the book of the law. So in the sphere, I am everywhere the center. As she, the circumference, is nowhere found. Yet she shall be known, and I never. Okay, this is so cool. Okay, so in the sphere, I am everywhere the center. As she, the circumference, is nowhere found. Yet she shall be known, and I never. Okay, so let's draw a circle. So how do we draw a circle? So there is a point that's going to be the middle of the circle, right? And so we know this circle. This is the boundary of the circle, or the circumference of the circle, right? So we know this is the circle because of its boundary right here, and that's the circle, right? So now if God, was infinite, the womb, whatever's over here being receptive, the womb would be, all right, so, but this is a finite circle, right? But since God is infinite, right, there's still a center, but it's infinite. It goes everywhere that way and that way. So where do I draw this circle? If it's infinite, we know there's a center, and we can see this is all part of the circle, but where is the circumference? I mean, it's infinite that way, and it's infinite this way. As soon as I draw the circumference, then I'm creating a boundary. But God is infinite, so there is no boundary. So in the sphere, I am everywhere the center, as she, the circumference, is nowhere found. You know, where's the circle? Where's the circumference? Yet she shall be known, and I never. Like, how cool of a concept is that? But that's more womb stuff again. Something needs to be balanced out. Receive. I don't know how this pertains to the rest of this story, though. Let's keep going and find out. The Six of Cups. Okay, there's a baby coming. Either a baby or another baby project, baby pet. But there's a baby coming. Okay, I think we're gonna go back to the Aeon real quick. Because look, this is also a baby. So here, I'll read a little bit more about this one. Okay. So the traditional name of this card is Judgment, or the Last Judgment. The traditional design shows the Archangel Israfel blowing his trumpet to announce the end of the world as the dead arise from their tombs. In Chapter 6, which is actually an expanded commentary on this card, I attempted to explain why Crowley replaced the Last Judgment with the Aeon in the Thoth Tarot. The reader who has not yet read that chapter is strongly advised to do so now. I will sum up what I wrote there simply by saying that. So according to Crowley, the Last Judgment trump is now obsolete. The event that it depicted, the destruction of the world by fire, has already occurred. The world we are talking about, of course, is the spiritual age of Osiris. The Aeon card of the Thoth Tarot depicts the spiritual forces that initiated the next age, the Aeon of Horus. Alright, Crowley saw this event as a magical changing of the guard that was foreshadowed symbolically by one of the regular seasonal ceremonies of the Golden Dawn. So every 6 months, the ritual officers of that order were ceremonially promoted one chair up. The new secret passwords were issued. In that ritual, the officer who had formerly served as second in command, who in that position had magically assumed the identity of the Egyptian god Horus, was installed to serve as the Hierophant, symbolized by Osiris, for the next 6 months. The Book of the Law calls the cosmic version of this ceremony the Equinox of the Gods. So Rahur hath taken his seat in the east and the equinox of the gods. So Horus is the god of force and fire, and his ascension as Lord of the new Aeon spiritually destroys the old world by fire. It only looks like the end of the world to those of us who cannot accept the possibility that old spiritual points of views can never be replaced by new ones. So see, that would be like the baby coming out of this world that was destroyed by fire. So even in spiritual concepts, there's receptivity to create new ideas, new things. So Nuit, the goddess of night sky and infinite space, arches her body over the entire top section. Directly beneath her heart is a winged solar disk that the Book of the Law refers to as the god Hadit. Which is this and this. The goddess Nuit, her body filled with stars, her breasts alive with the milk of whirling galaxies, forms a beautiful blue omega as she bends in ecstasy around an immense egg containing the seated image of Rahur Kuit. He holds the phoenix wand in his right hand. His left hand is empty, standing as a transparent essence before Rahur Kuit is his twin, Hur Pakrat, which is the sun. His finger at his lips in the sign of science. His head is shaven, except for his Horus lock, and crowned with 2 uraeus serpents. So there is a birth coming. Not necessarily a baby, but even a new idea, new ways of being, new happiness. Interesting. Okay, the Hebrew letter Shin is assigned to the Aeon, and a large Shin containing 3 embryonic figures appears at the bottom of the card. It flames in front of every stylized set of scales, perhaps pointing to the Aeon that will follow the Aeon of Horus, that of Mat, the goddess of justice and balance. Interesting. Crowley ends his discussion of this card with a comparison of the world events of approximately 2,000 years ago at the advent and birth of the last Aeon. His words carry a chilling but ultimately hopeful message. The time for the birth of an Aeon seems to be indicated by great concentration of political power, with the accompanying improvements in the means of travel and communication, with a general advance in philosophy and science, with a general need of consolidation in religious thought. It is very instructive to compare the events of the 500 years preceding and following the crisis of approximately 2,000 years ago with those of similar periods centered in 1904 of the Old Era. It is though far from comforting to the present generation that 500 years of dark ages are likely to be upon us. But if the analogy holds, that is the case. Fortunately, today we have brighter torches and more torch bearers. See, in the 500 years of dark ages would be like the womb, so that new thoughts and new things can come out from the womb. So there's definitely something about new future sight. Interesting. This is about some new things, new ideas, new patterns, new justice that you're going for. 6 of Cups. So this is the tree of life of cups of emotions, and we are in beauty part of it, where everything else goes around, like the sun, everything revolves around the sun. This is where our holy guardian lives. So it is like home, the home of the emotions. How does this make you feel? That's exactly how the 6 of Cups is. It's about childhood, new views of life. Nostalgia, happy memories, renewing friendships. To heal from her wounds, the fool seeks shelter from the present, revisiting the brighter moments of her past. Here she finds refuge, comfort, and safety. This can take the form of fond memories or even a physical homecoming. She may also be searching for answers and seeking closure. She gathers strength in these warm surroundings, but she must remember not to get lost in the past. Find simple pleasures. In childhood, we view the world with wonder and awe. Try to look at the present with the fresh eyes of your inner child. Name the little things in life that made you happy. Yeah, there's definitely a new way of there's something new coming here. You just need to be open to it. It'll balance you out. And it's something big too, And friendliness. Yeah, I wonder if that friendliness is what's emerging if you're open. You know, no more last judgment, no more thinking of the old ways, you know. Let's start brand new with the eyes of a kid. Is the Two of Emotions, the Two of Cups as well. And you have another two. There's two X's. So in the Tree of Life, we are here, and the mirror of this one is up above the abyss. Wisdom of the emotions. So the branches of these two flowering trees are intertwined, and their fallen petals blend together on the ground in their beautiful colors. It is as if heaven and earth are bridged by love, but these stand individually, each rooted in the soil and their own connection with the earth. In this way, they represent the essence of true friends, mature, easy with each other, natural. There is no urgency about their connection, no neediness, no desire to change the other into something else. This card indicates a readiness to enter this quality of friendliness. Be open. In the passage, you may notice that you are no longer interested in all kinds of dramas and romances that other people are engaged in. It is not a loss, it is the birth. Yeah, all of this has been about a birth of something new. It is the birth of a higher, more loving quality born of the fullness of experience. Yeah, instead of thinking like the old ways of being burned by fire, we're coming into new ways of thinking, new ways of being. It is the birth of a love that is truly unconditional, without expectations or demand, just like this kid giving the girl a flower. First, meditate, which is the beginning, the openness, that calmness that we felt. Be blissful, then much love will happen of its own accord. Then being with others is beautiful, and being alone is also beautiful. Then it is simple too. You don't depend on others, and you don't make others dependent on you. And it is always a friendship, a friendliness. It never becomes a relationship. It is always a relatedness. You relate, but you don't create a marriage. Marriage is out of fear. Relatedness is out of love. You relate as long as things are moving beautifully, you share. And if you see that the moment has come to depart because your paths separate at this crossroad, you say goodbye with great gratitude for all the other has been to you, for all the joys and all the pleasures and all the beautiful moments that you have shared with the other, with no misery, with no pain. You simply separate. Yeah, so, you know, all these old ways of thinking, which is the Six of Cups, all these old memories. It's time for something new. Be open to something new. Be open to the future instead of going to the past. There's going to be some cool new ways of thinking that will be more friendly, more balanced, more calm. So yeah, you definitely should be open and look forward to what's coming. Life is but an adventure. It's like in One Piece, you know, you are leaving the old island and you're going to the next one. You're being open to these new adventures that are coming. Alright, let's get some last words from the Office Oracle deck. This one. Hug it out, bitch. Yeah, hug out. Just give a hug to your past, to everything that's happened, to the things you're leaving behind. Just hug it out. And look ahead to the future. Ooh. there's a divine influence happening, and it landed right on top of this, which is a really like a card, like a, it's bigger than all of us. Yeah, and this card is about divine influence, which is taking you somewhere new. Don't give up, just keep going, you're being helped. Michael and Dwight stood outside waiting for David Wallace, you know, because their branch was going to close, so they were going to go talk to David Wallace to try to get it so that their the branch doesn't close. But yeah, and they waited outside for David Wallace. He never showed up, and the branch was still saved. They had nothing to do with it, but their effort and focus was all that mattered. Just be you and do what you do, and trust in your magic. You're being taken somewhere new, somewhere more friendly. Be excited for what's to come. Pile 4. It's pretty cool. I hope you enjoyed the reading. See you next time.